Hey guys, this is Dreadbane joined by Sapphire. Now this is the final of the New Zealand Cup we've got here. Now this is between Stroggos, the red Protoss, and his opponent is AlwaysYou, the green Zerg. Now this is Lost Temple, so tell us a bit about this, sir.
Yeah, this is from the series from the Clan New Zealand Cup. So it was all New Zealand players, and there's been a lot of tournaments that's been just for Australians and not any just for New Zealand tournaments. So very curious to see this tournament and how it turned out. And interestingly, we don't have a Protoss on Protoss final, as you would expect, because there is that Protoss Mafia that's been so good lately. And we do actually have a Zerg player, and AlwaysYou is playing really, really well lately. I haven't known too much about him going into this tournament, but then I did some research and people were like, yeah, AlwaysYou is actually quite a good player. So really looking forward to this matchup. It is a best of 5, and I am just really glad to see Stroggos make a final, because he's been putting in really strong showings in a bunch of tournaments, but he's just been not able to quite get out over the line. Like, he was doing really well in beta in the Trans-Tasman, and he got almost through to the second day, but he fell just one spot short of making it through to the second day in the Trans-Tasman. And then in the Zaz Open, he had a really tough draw, and he got through James and FPX, but then he went down to Mez. So it's really good to see Stroggos making it to a grand final of a tournament. And we are seeing this forward gateway going down. This drone from AlwaysYou trying to interrupt the placement, and it looks like the drone is trying to stop Stroggos throwing down a second gate, and he's got that 150 save. There he does throw it down with a big wide choke in the middle. So even though the drone only delayed it slightly, he was able to mess with the placement, and now there's that huge wide open choke right there. So it's not good placement of that gateway if Stroggos was going to wall. But we are seeing AlwaysYou reacting here with that relatively early spawning pool, looking like judging by his mineral save, that he was thinking about an expansion. I'm not sure if I would agree with that because of this 2-gate. So it looks like his plans have been changed now, because Stroggos has thrown down this early 2-gate aggression, and this is tough for Zerg to deal with in these positions on Loft Temple, because you're going to have Zealots pouring into your base, and you're going to need the Queen online very, very fast. So looking like he's got a little bit of minerals banked right here, so possibly even thinking about a Spine Crawler. Not sure what he's going to be spending all that money on, but we are seeing those first Zealots coming out, Chrono Boost being burnt on them, so not sure what AlwaysYou is going to do to try and combat this.
Yeah, just like clockwork, the Chrono Beast being used on these gateways now, as this first Zealot is now moving across the field. So we have to see what he can do right now, because the Zerglings are about to pop in any second as this probe is evacuating the area right now. So he should be okay if he, really takes care of this positioning now. But this one Zealot, if he gets droned but his two buddies coming across the field now, it cause a lot of problems unless AlwaysYou is very careful here. So we do have this one Spine Crawler in the mineral line, so shouldn't be too much drone harassing going on early.
Yeah, it's even though Stroggos, I'm not sure how successful this attack is going to be with the Queen up and the Spine Crawler in place now. These 3 Zealots with that probe who got taken out are not going to do too much damage, but it has allowed Stroggos to throw down this wall in. It's not turned out too badly, this positioning. He's getting his Forge down, transitioning into Forge fast expand. So I like the build from Stroggos. His plan was to double gate pressure, and then once realizing it wasn't going to work, he is going into that relatively early expansion. But AlwaysYou, his build has been thrown right off, because he wanted to expand, he was building to expand, then he realized the positioning and the forward gates, and he switched into this one base roach, and he was having to deal with a Zealot contain, which is now gone, so he had to throw that on that Spine Crawler. So his unspent minerals is quite high, only just now getting that expansion done. So AlwaysYou, I like how he's transitioned into one base roach. That is a good play when you're dealing with lots and lots of Zealots, but unfortunately for AlwaysYou, now he is not dealing with a heavy Zealot build. Stroggos has kind of psyched him out on that, and now he's throwing down this wall in, which is going to be a little bit tough for those roaches to deal with. When they come to this wall in, they will be in range of those cannons. They do not have big range like Stalkers do. So right now, AlwaysYou seems to be quite a bit behind, because this expansion is already online for Stroggos, and AlwaysYou is only just now morphing his hatchery, so I feel AlwaysYou is quite behind now.
Yeah, it is. It is very nice to see all these little mind games very early on. It's something that is outside the realm of just builds and stuff like that. Just little pressure, then pulling back, and then getting this expansion. It's just nice to see. And now these 3 Zealots roaming in front of this wall here, not really looking to go anywhere really, because there's a bunch of these roaches on the field. So we'll just have to wait to see what AlwaysYou really comes up with now. He's just getting his lair tech now upgrading, so most likely going to see some higher tier units, you would expect.
Yeah, I don't like this from Stroggos. This all being scouted by AlwaysYou. He was got this Overlord nicely on the cliff here, which is not being just out of range of this cannon. And unfortunately, for AlwaysYou, he didn't react there. He could have picked off those Zealots and got a few free hits on that Xel'Naga. I don't believe he should have given up the Xel'Naga as easily as he just did. And now we are seeing that Overlord moving away, and nicely positioned at the top of Stroggos space is another Overlord. And so, really good scouting information there for AlwaysYou, and he's going to be able to bring this Overlord in as a sacrifice quite easily. We are seeing Warp Gates almost finished for Stroggos, and he's throwing up 3 more Warp Gates at the back of his base. So he's transitioning into 5 Gate from this expansion, and he's really going to be able to afford it, simply because if you look at his income, despite the fact he's down a little bit in harvests, his income is very, very close to AlwaysYou, who has been droning so hard to try and get himself back in this game. Both players drawing parallel in income with a 3 harvester advantage to AlwaysYou. So Stroggos is going to be able to afford this with his economy because he's been mining for longer and he had that expansion going for longer. But by going hardcore drones, AlwaysYou has this really big economical advantage, but he's got hardly anything in terms of army. But thanks to that scouting of that Overlord, he knows he's only dealing with 3 Zealots and a Sentry right now. So there is no real heavy pumping of units just yet. But that Warp Gate research is finished, and we are going to see mass Warp Gates coming online. And interestingly, Hallucination being researched. So this is going to be interesting. I always love it when Hallucination is researched because he could totally fake AlwaysYou out. He could throw up a bunch of hallucinated Colossi when he pushes out, and that will force AlwaysYou to throw down a Spire, start to panic, say, oh damn, I missed the Robo. So a lot of good tricks that can be done with Hallucination, not the least of which is just hallucinating a